America is full of stories the history books barely whisper about, unsolved crimes that refuse to fade, legends that hide in the shadows, and cold cases that have haunted investigators for decades. Tonight, we're going to unravel the secrets behind these mysteries, looking for clues, hidden motives, and the chilling truths that were never uncovered. Could the answers still be out there? Let's find out. Imagine this for a moment. It's a quiet evening in small-town America. The kind of town where everyone knows everyone, where the local diner has the same faces every morning, where the sound of crickets fills the night air. Then, one ordinary day, someone simply vanishes. No screams, no witnesses, no clear answers. Just gone. And what S left behind I send T only an empty room or a missing car at S, a storm of questions that no one can seem to answer. One of the most chilling cases that still rattles investigators is the disappearance of Maura Murray in 2004, a bright 21-year-old nursing student. Smart, ambitious, full of plans for the future. She emailed her professors that she was taking a week off due to a family emergency, a detail that later turned out to be completely false. Then she packed her car, drove into the cold mountains of New Hampshire, and crashed into a snowbank on a rural road. A passing bus driver stopped, offered help. She refused, said she had already called for roadside assistance, though records show she never did. Minutes later, when the police arrived, Maura was gone. Her car still running, airbags deployed, personal items left inside, but no trace of her anywhere. For nearly 2 decades, investigators have searched woods, rivers, even conducted massive ground-penetrating radar scans. But the question remains, what happened to Maura Murray that night? Was she abducted? Did she walk into the wilderness never to return? Or was there a deeper secret hiding behind her sudden trip? Every theory leads to another dead end, and the mystery only deepens with time. And then there's the haunting case of Brian Schaefer in 2006, a medical student who went out for drinks with friends in Columbus. Ohio security cameras caught him entering a bar that night, laughing and talking like any other 27-year-old enjoying the weekend. But here's the twist: cameras show everyone leaving the bar later. Except Brian. He's never seen on any exit footage. It's as if he walked into that bar and simply disappeared off the face of the earth. Investigators searched every inch of the building, surrounding areas, even the city's underground tunnels, but no answers. No signs of foul play, no evidence of him leaving voluntarily. The idea that someone can be there 1 second and gone the next, in a place full of people and cameras, defies explanation and leaves behind a silence that's deafening. And what about the Springfield 3? A mother, her daughter, and her daughter's friend, 3 people vanished from a single house in Springfield, Missouri in 1992, no break-in signs. No struggle, purses, keys, cars, all left behind. Police have chased leads for years, suspected serial killers, psychics claiming visions, even rumors of bodies buried under local construction sites, but nothing has ever led to answers. It's as if the earth itself swallowed them whole. These cases aren't just about missing people, they about the eerie feeling that maybe we'll never know what really happened. Families left in limbo, holding on to hope while time erodes the trail of evidence. Detectives retiring with unsolved cases still scribbled in old notebooks. And communities haunted by the idea that someone out there knows the truth, but for decades has chosen silence over justice. When you hear about these disappearances, you start asking yourself unsettling questions. How can someone vanish in today's world of technology, cameras, and instant communication? How can entire teams of investigators, with access to modern forensics and national databases, still be left empty-handed? And perhaps the most chilling thought of all, could something like this happen to someone you know, right now without warning, leaving nothing behind but a mystery that will echo for generations? Picture this: a dusty stack of old newspapers, their pages yellowed and fragile, tucked away in a forgotten corner of some small-town library. Headlines from 100 years ago scream words like murder, mystery, missing. Yet today, almost no one remembers these names or the stories behind them. They faded from the spotlight, buried under decades of new tragedies, new headlines, new mysteries. But for the families and the towns they left behind, the echoes never stopped. These are the crimes that have slipped through the cracks of time, unsolved cases that once gripped entire communities, but are now little more than whispers carried on the wind. One such case still sends shivers down the spines of history buffs: the strange death of Charles Walton in 1945, a farm laborer in the quiet English countryside. His body was found with bizarre symbols carved into the ground nearby, rumors of witchcraft swirling through the village like smoke. But here's the thing: decades later, his case still sits unsolved in official police records. And while it happened far from America, tales like this crossed oceans, fueled by newspapers that connected the world even back then. And soon enough, the United States had mysteries of its own that would never find answers. Take the story of the Atlas vampire murder in Sweden in 1932, again, far from US soil, but widely reported in American papers, where a woman was found in her apartment. Lifeless, her blood drained, police baffled by clues that seemed to lead nowhere. The press sensationalized it, readers devoured every detail, yet today, the case is little more than a footnote in true crime history. This is the danger of time. It erases, it silences, it buries even the most shocking stories unless someone fights to keep them alive. And here in America, countless crimes once dominated front pages before being replaced by the next big headline. In the 1920s and 30s, the country was gripped by what seemed like an endless string of family annihilations cases where entire households were found dead. The killers vanished and theories ran wild. One such mystery was the murder of the Grimes sisters in Chicago in 1956. Two young girls disappeared after seeing an Elvis Presley movie. Their bodies found weeks later on the outskirts of the city. The police launched one of the largest manhunts in Chicago's history, questioning suspects, chasing rumors, piecing together clues. Yet to this day, the identity of their killer remains a haunting question mark in the annals of American crime history. Then there's the Villisca Axe murders of 1912, perhaps one of the most terrifying cases ever to come out of small-town America. 8 people, including 6 children, were found brutally murdered in their beds in Villisca, Iowa. The weapon? An axe, left at the scene, its blade darkened with the night's horror. The killer? Never found. Multiple suspects were arrested, trials held, accusations thrown like wildfire across the town, but the truth never surfaced. And now, over a century later, the house where it happened still stands, frozen in time, a place ghost hunters and tourists visit, hoping to glimpse some shadow of what really occurred that night. What makes these crimes even more unsettling is how they morph into legend over the years. Facts blur into folklore, witness accounts twist with retellings. The newspapers sensationalized, rumors filled in gaps, and soon the real story becomes tangled with superstition, local myths, and ghost tales. What began as tragedy slowly becomes campfire storytelling until people forget that real lives were shattered, real killers walked free, real justice was never served. And maybe that's the cruelest trick time plays on us. With each passing decade, evidence degrades, witnesses die, investigators retire. Files get misplaced or destroyed in courthouse fires or floods. The world moves on, but the mystery stays frozen, unsolved, mocking every attempt to uncover the truth. Sometimes, even modern technology can help because the trail has gone so cold, it's like chasing smoke with your bare hands. Yet every so often, one of these forgotten cases gets a sudden jolt back to life. A journalist uncovers a hidden file. A DNA test is run on some long-forgotten piece of evidence. A confession comes out of nowhere from a nursing home deathbed. And for a brief moment, the whispers of the past grow louder, as if the stories themselves are begging not to be forgotten, not to be erased by the relentless march of time, because somewhere buried in those brittle old records lies a truth that refuses to stay hidden. Some mysteries are born from facts, from real events that can be traced through court records, yellowed newspapers, or long-forgotten witness statements. But then there are those cases where reality and legend collide, where the truth is buried so deep beneath folklore, rumors, and chilling bedtime stories that no one can say for certain what really happened. These are the cold cases tangled in local myths, the ones whispered about in small-town diners or told in hushed voices around campfires, where no one knows where the real story ends and the legend begins. Take the case of the Bennington Triangle in Vermont, a stretch of wilderness where, between 1945 and 1950, at least 5 people vanished without a trace. Entire search parties combed the forests, helicopters scanned from above, bloodhounds sniffed along trails, nothing, no bodies, no clues, no signs of struggle. One of the most chilling disappearances was that of Paula Jang Weldon, an 18-year-old college student who went for a hike one December afternoon and was never seen again. Some locals claimed to see strange lights in the sky on the nights people vanished. Others whispered about a cursed land, pointing to old Native American legends warning people to avoid certain areas because of angry spirits said to guard them. Skeptics argue it was just accidents, wild animals, or perhaps even a clever killer who knew the woods better than anyone. But when an entire region gains a reputation for swallowing people whole, it starts feeling less like coincidence and more like something out of a dark fairy tale where the forest itself hides its secrets. And then there's the chilling story of the vanishing village of Anjikuni Lake in Canada, reported in the 1930s but retold countless times across American borders, especially in northern towns close to the wilderness. A trapper passing through claimed he found the entire Inuit village deserted, fires still burning, meals left uneaten, sled dogs frozen in the snow, but not a single soul anywhere. No signs of a fight, no footprints leading away, just silence. While skeptics argue about whether the story was exaggerated or even fabricated by early newspapers hungry for sensational headlines, the legends spread like wildfire, especially in remote American towns where long winters and endless forests make disappearing seem far too easy. America has plenty of its own dark legends tied to real disappearances too. The Roanoke colony is perhaps the most famous. Over 100 settlers vanished from the island in the late 1500s, leaving behind only the cryptic word Croatoan carved into a tree. Historians debate theories ranging from disease to hostile encounters to assimilation with local tribes. But over the centuries, the story grew stranger, feeding ghost tales, curses, and even claims of supernatural involvement. What began as a desperate mystery of missing people transformed into one of the country's oldest unsolved legends, proving how time twists facts into folklore until no one can separate the two. In the mountains of Appalachia, entire towns talk about the Brown Mountain Lights in North Carolina, strange, glowing orbs drifting through the darkness, blamed for everything from alien abductions to luring travelers to their doom. People who vanish in the area are sometimes tied to these legends, as though the land itself conspires with something otherworldly to hide them. Local law enforcement treats these as tragic but explainable disappearances, lost hikers, bad weather, dangerous terrain, but locals whisper otherwise, claiming the lights have been around long before modern records, long before search parties and rescue helicopters. What makes these mysteries so haunting is the collision between evidence and legend. A real person vanishes, investigators find no leads, time erases the trail, and in the absence of answers, stories grow like vines over the facts. Maybe there was a clue no one noticed, a suspect never questioned, or maybe the person walked into the wilderness and never wanted to be found. But as the decades pass, folklore seeps in. Locals start saying the land is cursed, that the spirits of the past guard their secrets, that something beyond human understanding plays a part. Soon, every strange sound in the woods, every shadow crossing the road at night, every campfire tale folds itself into the original mystery until no one knows what's real anymore. And yet, these legends keep people searching. Amateur sleuths hike into the Bennington Triangle with GPS trackers, paranormal teams set up cameras on Brown Mountain, divers scan the dark waters near Anjikuni Lake, all hoping to find the missing pieces of puzzles long thought unsolvable. Because behind every legend is the possibility, just the slightest chance, that the truth is still out there, waiting for someone to uncover it before time swallows it completely for decades. Cold cases have sat gathering dust in police archives, their files filled with yellowed reports, faded photographs, and evidence sealed in boxes that no one has touched in years. Families of the victims age while waiting for answers, suspects pass away without ever facing justice, and the world slowly forgets. But in recent years, something remarkable has begun to happen. Modern technology, combined with the determination of investigators and even ordinary people on the internet, has started breathing new life into some of America's oldest mysteries. Cases once considered unsolvable are being reopened, re-examined, and in rare but powerful moments, solved after decades of silence. One of the most groundbreaking tools in this new era of investigation is DNA technology. For years, evidence collected in the 70s, 80s, and 90s just sat in evidence lockers because forensic science hadn't yet advanced enough to analyze it properly. But today, even a single hair, a tiny trace of skin cells, or decades-old fingerprints can tell stories that were once impossible to uncover. A perfect example is the case of the Golden State Killer, a predator who terrorized California in the 70s and 80s, responsible for at least 13 murders and 50 assaults. For over 40 years, he was a ghost, his identity unknown. But then came genetic genealogy, the same kind of DNA testing people use to find long-lost relatives through ancestry websites. Investigators uploaded crime scene DNA to public databases and by building family trees, finally tracked down Joseph James Dengelo, a man living an ordinary life as a former police officer. Decades of fear ended because of a technology no one in the 70s could have imagined. This kind of success has inspired detectives across the country to reopen files once thought hopeless. Suddenly, cases like the Lady of the Dunes, an unidentified woman found murdered in Massachusetts in 1974, are being solved because someone ran old evidence through new systems. In 2022, she was finally identified as Ruth Marie Terry, nearly 50 years after her death. And this is what makes modern cold case work so powerful, the idea that no matter how much time has passed, justice might still be possible. But it's not just police departments getting involved anymore. Ordinary people, armchair detectives on forums like Web Sleuths and Reddit, YouTubers diving deep into old files, and investigative podcasters are all playing a part in unraveling mysteries. Sometimes they uncover small details missed by authorities. Sometimes they bring new attention to cases long forgotten by the media. Take the Cecil Hotel case in Los Angeles, where internet sleuths analyzed security footage frame by frame after the mysterious death of Eliza Lamb. While the official cause of death was ruled accidental, the online community kept the conversation alive, forcing authorities to release more information than they originally planned, proving that in today's world, the public can amplify pressure in ways never before possible. Another layer to this modern investigation landscape is digital footprints. Decades ago, victims and suspects could vanish more easily because records were on paper, communication was slower, and surveillance was limited. Today, phones track locations, security cameras sit on nearly every corner, and even something as simple as a Google search can reveal intent or planning in ways old-school detectives never had access to. Social media alone has cracked cases by uncovering posts, private messages, or connections between people investigators didn't know existed. Yet, for all the progress, some mysteries refuse to give up their secrets. DNA degrades over time. Witnesses die, memories fade. And sometimes there's simply not enough evidence left to run through any database or algorithm. That's when theories take over: wild, fascinating, sometimes completely believable, and other times downright bizarre. For instance, the disappearance of Amelia Earhart in 1937 has generated everything from government cover-up theories to alien abduction claims, despite serious investigations pointing to her likely crash near remote Pacific islands. Similarly, the fate of D.B. Cooper, the man who hijacked a plane in 1971, parachuted out with $200,000 and was never seen again, continues to spark debates. Did he survive the jump and live out his life in hiding, or did he perish in the wilderness, his remains never found? Modern investigators have tested everything from DNA on old ransom money to weather records from that night, but Cooper's identity remains one of America's most enduring mysteries. And maybe that's why cold cases fascinate us so deeply. Technology can bring us closer to the truth than ever before, but it can't guarantee closure. Sometimes the answers lie just beyond reach, trapped in the past, waiting for the right clue, the right breakthrough, the right person to finally put the pieces together and reveal what really happened on those nights when history itself seemed to hold its breath, refusing to give up its darkest secrets as we've journeyed through vanishing trails, forgotten crimes, local legends. And the modern hunt for truth? One thing becomes clear: America's cold cases are more than just stories frozen in time. They are puzzles missing their final pieces, chapters of history left unwritten, echoes of voices that still demand to be heard. Some of these mysteries may one day be solved through science, persistence, or sheer luck. Others may remain forever in the shadows, becoming part of the folklore passed down through generations. But maybe that's what keeps us coming back. The hope that somewhere out there, a single clue, a hidden witness, or a breakthrough in technology will finally crack the silence wide open. Until then, the names, the dates, the strange circumstances, they stay with us, haunting the edges of history, reminding us that the truth, no matter how deeply buried, always waits for someone brave enough to find it.